Hello and welcome to Jazz Piano Hub. This video is an introduction to the basics of jazz piano, and today we're looking at intervals, how to recognize them by ear and how to name them. So why do we need to know about intervals? Well, intervals are the building blocks of music in the same way that letters are the building blocks of language. If we know how to recognize intervals, we can build chords, transpose, play by ear more easily, and discuss music with other musicians. So what is an interval in music? Intervals represent the distance in pitch between two notes. The easiest way to recognize intervals is to know your 12 major scales, but I'll come back to that. The smallest interval at the keyboard is the semitone or half step, for example from C to C sharp, or from E to F. A tone or whole step is made up of two semitones, for example from C to D or E to F sharp. Any interval can be counted in semitones, but that can become complicated very quickly. For example, a fourth is made up of 5 semitones, and a fifth is made up of 7 semitones. You're probably already confused. Let's look at an easier method. Take the scale of C major, C to C using only the white notes. Number each note 1 to 8. C to E is a third. C to G is a fifth. Remember to count C, the root note, as 1. This method is really important for recognizing intervals by ear, without the need to know the actual pitch of the root note. Each degree of the scale has a distinct character or degree of tension away from the root. You'd be surprised how easy it is to learn these tones if you know what to listen for. So far we've only looked at 8 notes of a major scale, so what about an interval such as C to B flat? Well, B flat is a lowered B, and B is a 7th. So we can call that a flattened 7th, or a flat 7. What about C to F sharp? Well, F sharp is a raised F, so we can call that a sharpened 4th, or sharp 4. This method is very simple and used a lot by jazz musicians. A jazz musician will often say something like, "Can we play that down a 4th?" or play a flat 3 there. The most important musical formula you need to know is how to build a major scale. From any note, count up a tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So starting from F, we would get G, A, and a semitone would be B flat. Then a tone to C, to D, E, and then a semitone to F. There's your F major scale. There's only 12 major scales, and you need to know them. There's also a more formal way of naming intervals, which classical musicians use, and you should know this method too. Intervals are split into 2 groups, primary and secondary. The primary intervals are 4, 5, and 8, the octave. These are called perfect. So a 4th is a perfect 4th, a 5th is a perfect 5th, and so on. Primary intervals which are lowered are called diminished, meaning made smaller. If they are raised, they're called augmented, meaning made larger. So C to F is a perfect 4th. C to F sharp is an augmented 4th. C to G is a perfect 5th. But C to G flat is a diminished 5th. You'll notice that F sharp and G flat are actually the same note. Whether it's an augmented 4th or a diminished 5th will depend on the musical context, such as which key you're in. The secondary intervals are 2, 3, 6, and 7, and these will either be major or minor. So C to E is a major third. C to E flat is a minor third. So intervals are either major or minor, unless they're the fourth, fifth, or octave. These will be perfect, diminished, or augmented. And that's it. There's a few things to remember there, but the easiest way to recognize any interval is to know your major scales. Did I mention that?